All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the latest edition of FranCoach's Franchising 101 webinar series. I am your wonderful host, Tim Parmeter, here on lockdown in Arizona, and we are very excited for today's spotlight as it shines on a truly incredible franchise in a relatively unknown industry. And that franchise is called System4, and joining us today is the founder, CEO, and all-around good dude of System4, Phil Kubek. Phil, how are you today?
Oh, great, Tim. Thanks for the introduction. Appreciate it.
You are welcome. How's everyone in Cleveland today?
Well, we're kind of in that same position. We've got the lockdown for the state. Fortunately, with our business, we're able to still do some things. We're excluded.
Very good, and I know we're going to talk a lot about that, and we've got a whole bunch of questions for you. So hopefully you're ready. First up, I want to kind of just remind everybody of who the heck we are. And FranCoach is a national search firm, and we are dedicated to working with individuals interested in owning a franchise. We're partnered with over 500 of the top franchisors in the country, spanning nearly 60. We have two basic goals with our clients. The first is to educate folks enough to determine if franchise ownership is the right path. If so, goal number two is to help each client find the absolute best franchise for them to own. That, believe it or not, is the easy part due to our in-depth client assessment process. Best of all, there is never, ever any fee for our service. We will, however, accept tips of toilet paper at the moment, but never, ever any fee for our service. So that's FranCoach. Now let's get to the good stuff. And System4, facility services management. So Phil, I'm gonna fire a two-part question at you here to start with. So first, just tell us a little bit about System4, and then what the heck does facility services management mean?
Sure. Great. So, System 4, I mean, we've been around since 2004, and real quickly, I'm like a lot of other people in the in the United States. I bought a franchise. So many years ago, I bought a franchise, ended up buying the company and becoming the franchisor, and then ultimately started System 4. And we are a company that provides business to business services. And I guess the best way to explain it is very similar to Amazon. We used to go to the store, pick up things, bring them home. Today we go online, Amazon delivers it at the same price point. And in a lot of ways, that's what we're doing. We've provided software, we built software, we provide it to our end clients. They go online, they log on what they need. And in so many steps, we basically provide that. It's kind of a one-stop shop for all their needs that they may have in their facility, whether it's repairing HVAC, plumbing, cleaning, replacement of windows, striping parking lots. So we just basically become their partner in managing their facility.
Gotcha. Excellent. Which cleaning right now is not on anybody's mind, and making sure things are up to par with that,
Right.
for sure. So you mentioned some of the different services that are provided. Um, Pretty much none of those things are going to go out of service or kind of out of need anytime soon. And as you mentioned, the Amazon thing, not really replaceable. So you've got a, let's say, about as a recession resistant, recession proof industry as we could possibly find these days, right?
Oh, absolutely. And quite frankly, I've experienced 3 recessions being in this industry, and every time our top line never dipped. Our rate of growth slowed down, but unlike other industries that may see a 20 or 25% slide back on their business, that really doesn't happen in this industry at all.
Awesome. So that helps us kind of understand what facility services management is all about. What are some of maybe the key points of this business model for a potential owner? I want you in a little bit. I'm going to ask you the same thing for your customers and your clients. But from an owner perspective, kind of what should they look for as a System4 owner?
Sure. I think one of the key components about our particular offering is the fact that uh, it's it's reoccurring revenue. So it's not transactional, it's reoccurring. People need these services on a regular basis. In fact, on the cleaning side, we get locked into contracts. So every month you already know what you're billing. And the nice thing about this is as you build your client base, you're kind of, building it on top of one another. So one month you might be billing $10,000, next month 20,000 and 30, etc. And the nice thing about what I've always liked about this business and why I've been in it is that fact of the reoccurring. And it's not something that's going to go away tomorrow. And it is a path that leads our franchise owners to build multi-million-dollar businesses. So the market is extremely large, as you can see, well, almost 300 billion for all the services, and it's reoccurring revenues. It's very scalable. You don't need uh, working capital to any great degree. Certainly don't need any equipment. You don't need inventory. You don't need real estate. So when I say scalable, I guess the best definition of that is if you were operating one of our offices and you were billing $40,000 a month in revenue, as an example, at the end of one month, and you closed a new deal that was $70,000 in billings, and this is a true story, then that very next month, you've increased or almost tripled your business with putting nothing into it. No capital, no hiring of people, because everything's outsourced and you're scaling it and you're basically capturing additional margin with no additional expense. And that's kind of one of I think the driving things is you're trying to build a business to have it reoccurring, I think is a real win.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's still always out there looking for new customers and new clients, but just knowing that as long as you're doing a good job and taking good care of them, they're gonna stay with you for a long period of time,
Yeah, and
right?
you get
So
and it becomes very stable. Once you get some mass to this, and we have our largest owner does 1.1 million a month of reoccurring revenue. So he's got quite the machine going, if you will. But I mean, even if you got to 300 or 400 clients per month, and our average client's $1,000, you've got to upset quite a few people, and quite a few bad things have to happen to have any of that kind of go away, if you will. So
right.
it's clearly one of those businesses that if you do all the heavy lifting early on, you're setting yourself up to have something that, is very sustainable over a very long period of time. And on that point, we've already got two owners who are second generation. So it does, start to create some interesting dynamics for an owner.
That's fantastic to hear, and I think one of the things that as we talk to people, especially coming out of the corporate world, that legacy family involvement thing is huge. Because again, you can't really take that director position at company XYZ and legacy it to your kid just because they're your kid. You can do that with your family. So I think
Yeah,
that's huge.
absolutely.
And you talk about this from I know the commercial cleaning is a big part, a huge part of the revenue with all of the additional services. But to just so folks know, right? The you're not the System 4 and the owners are not the ones in there doing the cleaning, and you're not directly even managing the labor force because that's sometimes a fear people have of that they don't want a big
Yeah,
labor force or certain types. So who's actually doing the work if it's not the System 4 owner?
sure. Yeah, so we have a complete subcontract network that either in some cases is in place or other cases we help build. That eventually the owner gets involved in building that as well. So you're really dealing with already vetted, established businesses that are providing all of these services across the board. And specifically, when you talk about cleaning, one of the things we've changed in our model in the last 5 years, 6 years now, is the fact that cleaning, I guess you could make an argument, as a commodity, right? It's based on price. It's based on how fast people can move to clean buildings. And so as we sat back and looked at that, and that was the only business that we had for many years, we really felt we had to bring to the table something completely different. And that's why we expanded into this facility services. So while the cleaning will always be kind of the most revenue because it's obviously a service done every day, all the other services, and if you thought about it this way, the cleaning is the center of the universe. It's surrounded by all these other services, handyman services, HVA services, electrical services, whatever those are, kind of protecting, if you will, the cleaning. And then what we put together was the software. Now the software becomes the glue, if you will, that keeps all that together. So what the client sees is when you talk to a client, you know, they're we're doing a consultative sale with them and basically explaining to them how they can streamline everything that they're doing, have visibility and transparency, and really start to change their thought process to say, you really need to have a one-stop shop. You need a company that can provide all of these services and do it in a transparent way and actually give you software for free. So as we do that, the client looks at us completely different. They look at us as a partner. So all the services we provide, including cleaning, is built into this package. And we're managing that, and we're their partners, and not one service upsets the apple cart, so to speak. Where before you had a commodity service, which was cleaning, and if you kind of messed up, you could lose the account. Where with this, if there's a problem with the cleaning, we get a different contractor in there. There's a problem with the handyman services, we get a different contractor in there. So it really does create a partnership with the client as opposed to a vendor relationship with the client.
Excellent. And again, these are all things, because it's business to business. Can't really make a decision, hey, I'm not going to clean my business for the next couple of weeks. Now, I may, or any of us may do that in our house, right? We don't have to clean our house. We should. Business, these things have to be done, right? So even in kind of, unprecedented times like now, these are services, every single one of them, that are essentially have to be
Yeah,
done.
and
So
that's good. And I tell you what's happened today, what's going on in our world today is going to completely change the trajectory of everybody's thought process on what's clean. What's clean used to be a very subjective thing. I think starting immediately, what clean is completely different. We need everything sanitized. We may need it sanitized X amount of times. I mean, we're seeing that now with our current clients, where cleaning is one thing, sanitizing is a completely another thing, especially in everybody's minds today. So as we go forward, I mean, we are positioned in a very unique situation in that I think what used to be, yeah, got to get my building clean, do the trash, to, you know what? This is really important because this has to do with the welfare of my employees or my clients that come to my business. So we are seeing a seismic shift in the last 3 weeks, just in our current client base, of how they view this.
yeah, absolutely. Let's be honest, we all are, right?
Yeah.
Those you go to a business or a restaurant, and you walk into the bathroom, and there's a sign that says, employees must wash hands. Hey, guess what? How about we all do that, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's
and
gone beyond that
how
for
to
sure.
do that, right? So absolutely. So business to business is obviously super broad. Um, Talk to us a little bit about kind of who those customers might be.
Sure. Yeah. Quite frankly, it's anybody you drive by is a potential client. They're doing this. They're getting it done somehow. And in my discussion on Amazon earlier, we were all buying these products. Now we're just getting them differently through a different mechanism. And this is the same thing with what we're doing. They're all getting plumbing repair, electrical repair. They're getting cleaning, carpet cleaning. Now they have a way to do this to consolidate it. Basically, what they do is we send one invoice a month for all the services. So from their perspective, the client's perspective, they're not vetting all these different vendors. They don't have to issue, numerous checks a month, a lot of 1099s at the end of the year. I mean, this is all streamlined for them. And the great news is at the end of the day, it's the same price point it was. So, it is just like with Amazon, it's a win-win. We're buying those things at the same price point as opposed to getting in our car and driving there. And we're doing the same thing on these services the way we package
And most of the people, correct me if I'm wrong on this, as I had an interesting conversation with one of our clients a few years ago regarding System 4. But most of the people that your owners are interacting with, kind of that point of contact, they're not just sitting around all day long as their job of figuring out facility services management. They are, they've got their day-to-day job, and this just kind of got tacked on to them. So you're really helping them take something off of their plate that they probably don't really want to spend a whole bunch of time on, because that's not what's getting them paid.
Yeah.
Is that a
Oh,
pretty
you're
common
right on.
occurrence?
And when we go and talk to a potential client, like I said, it's a consultative sale. Hey, Tim, when you come in the morning, you don't have any heating and air conditioning. Tell me your process. And you're going to hear everything from, well, I'll try to text Sal. He may show up in 2 days. We're not sure. Or we'll go to Google and see who's available. So, I mean, there's just no processes or systems that small businesses really have in place, which is very understandable. Your point, they're running their business. So this does add a level of, hey, you're taking this off my plate. This is fantastic. Are you still there?
Phil, you there? Yeah, sorry. I muted myself for a cough and forgot to unmute. But there was a guy we worked with a couple years ago that was at a car dealership. Is his last job. He was the finance manager, and I remember kind of describing this to him, and his comment was very literally, like, where the hell was System 4 when I was still working at the car dealership?
Right,
Because that
right.
was his job in addition to the finance manager was, close deals, close deals, close deals, get this place clean, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I always remember him saying that, and really was one of those things that resonated with me at probably at the core of what you're really doing is you're just taking this off somebody's plate who has 50 other things they need to be dealing with. So,
Right.
so you've got pretty much every possible business. How do owners find them? What are some of the lead generation kind of things that are involved for them?
Sure. So on lead gen, that certainly has evolved over the years, right? Um, on lead gen, I look at it as kind of lines in the water as there's listed on the screen. So we have relationships with third-party companies that actually set appointments for our franchise partners, which is going to be, hey Tim, I've got an appointment for ABC BMW dealership Thursday at 2 p.m. And you show up there and you know who the contact is, they have some interest. So that's one avenue. And then certainly email campaigns, as you can see, SEO, pay-per-click, social media. We also have national accounts that we have relationships of about 100 different brands. And the nice thing about that is, we know the work schedules, we know the price points, we know the pain points. So it really allows clients to enter, tap into System 4, because sometimes a lot of companies don't want to enter into a national locked-in agreement. I look at it as fishing rights. You can go and talk to them and see what you can do locally. So that's a great way to kind of expand the business. And then also you have your local accounts that are going to expand either in locations and or additional services. So our whole program is designed to say, how do you get 15 meetings a month? Our average account's $15,000. So if you had a close ratio of say 25 to 30%, you're adding $4,000 to $5,000 of reoccurring revenue every month. So if you did 3,500 a month, at the end of 12 months, you're reoccurring billing $40,000 or $480,000 reoccurring going into the next year. And that's the whole basis of how that reoccurring happens. And then on the other side as corporate, we're pursuing national and regional accounts. And because our franchise is, I would say, a franchise where you have a protected territory, it's an exclusive protected territory, which means any business done within that geography is our franchise partner's business. So we're always looking to close larger deals across state lines. And then we call up our partners and we say, hey, we just got this deal. It's $52,000 a month and there's 10 locations. So, that's part of what we do at corporate. We funnel that down. So it's a very strong approach. And what we're seeing is the basis of us offering this whole package. We talked earlier about taking things off of somebody's plate, assumption being it's a smaller company. But I got to tell you, in these larger companies, where there's 100 locations and somebody's got to deal with all that, it's a lot we're taking off their plate. So they're very, again, encouraged that we can do all these things and at the same price point they're at.
Gotcha. And we talk about this incredible scalability with this, with the recurring revenue, all of the different services that you can add. But talk a little bit about the territory, right? Because sometimes people in franchising, or maybe don't know much about it, is oh, I'm just buying myself a job. Um, that's usually a small little chunk of a metro area, but that's completely different than what type of owner you're looking for. Talk a little bit about the kind of the size and the magnitude just of the territory.
So our vision is, how do we help people build multi-million-dollar businesses? It's not, our vision is not how many franchises can we fit in the United States. So I think we have a little different opinion of how that should work. And so we have one franchise for every large metropolitan area. So one person owns basically the rights to Las Vegas. One person owns Phoenix. So we go and do it that way because that then supports our franchise owners to be multi-million-dollar businesses. And I think we basically break it out for that way. If it's a very large area, such as, let's say, Dallas as an example, we may have a franchise owner in Dallas and one in Dallas Fort Worth. And as an example, one person owns San Antonio. So it's really designed that you're owning the entire market, unless it's something, that makes sense that we would split up. And if we do, it's generally by counties. So it's very easy to track.
Gotcha. And that type of revenue, and talk just maybe a little bit, and I flip to the kind of the staffing size, so we'll
Hmm.
touch on that maybe just a little bit more, because we're talking about a multi-million-dollar business that we're running out of what kind of an executive suite type of office, right? With
Yeah, we allow the franchise partners to operate out of their homes for the first 6 months if they'd like to. But ultimately, once they hire somebody, they're going to need some type of an executive suite. But I'll tell you, our this is an interesting statistic, and it's in our FDD, is that I looked at average annual revenues per full-time employee, and that is something that I think kind of explains scalability, and it explains you can pretty much staff this the way you'd like. And it runs anywhere from $400,000 of annual revenue per full-time employee to $900,000 of annual revenue per full-time employee. So
which is just
certainly just
exactly what
points
you
out.
get for yeah, just exactly what you get from an employee at Subway, right? So,
Yeah,
um,
right.
so you've got all of this scalability, all of this revenue potential, reoccurring revenue, multiple revenue streams. What's a total investment for this has got to be like, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Or maybe not.
Yeah, we kind of base it. We can base it on population. So in our FDD, it's 10 cents a head, so to speak. So if you're looking at a market that's got close to 2 million in population, it's close to 200,000. But keep in mind that includes everything. So that includes all the training we're going to do, which is 400 to 500 man hours in the first 5 to 6 months. It includes setting up the software. It includes initial lead generation. So if you took a step back and said, and you would know this better than I, Tim, but if you took a step back and said, geez, if somebody was going to buy another franchise and they were $50,000 each, and they were putting 4 or 5 in that marketplace, we're probably lower than that accumulated cost. So
Oh,
because you're the
without question.
exclusive,
Yeah,
what's that?
just absolutely without question, right? And I think that's to me, one of the things is you can have an entire market, and not to pick on Subway, but if you were going to have all of Phoenix, right, for all those different subways, it's going to be significantly more of an investment, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Even if you just had one subway, it's probably 2 to 3 times the investment for a fraction of the potential revenue, right?
Right.
Which is just, it was just insane to think about. And then the one thing, and I know, knowing you as well as I do, is you're probably a little too humble to say this, but I will happily say this about System4 from all the folks that we've had the pleasure of working with that are now owners, is every single person, whether they become an owner of System4 or not, that we've introduced you, has raved about you, your entire team, the culture, the support, all of those things, and that's a rare thing. And so you talk about the man hours and the support and in the field, those are the facts, but you don't have to comment on this. I'm just going to say it is I know without question, you'll just show up at somebody's door if they're struggling a little bit or need some help, and you'll get on a plane, and maybe not today, but in a couple weeks, but you'll be on a plane and be there to support them. So I just wanted everyone to know, like, how blown away I've always been by that support. So that's a fantastic thing that you guys have. So I wanted to say that. I won't, you don't even have to comment on that. But the last thing I definitely wanted to just kind of throw at you is, and I just learned something the other day. You told me about a sister company, but is there anything else about System4 and this opportunity that you'd really like people to know about?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for those kind words, Tim. And I would say that one of the reasons that's like that is, as I said earlier, I was a franchise owner. I wrote franchise royalty checks. I got it. And I felt that what we have to strive to do is to always feel that we're partners with our franchisees, that we're bringing a lot to the table, whether it's year 1 or year 10 or year 15. And I'm not sure sometimes that culture always exists when you have people that own franchises that never were a franchisee. So I think that's just been a nice byproduct of where we've come from. Secondly, on what we also have is a sister company that we started investing in and launching about 5 years ago, which is called MicroShield 360. So MicroShield 360, and timing being what it is basically a antimicrobial that we electrostatically spray on surfaces that kills germs for a year. And the way we can do that is it's what we call a mechanical kill. So this solution that we've developed basically has microscopic swords in it and sticks to the surface. You can't see it, can't feel it. It's FDA approved, EPA approved, all those things. But when cells land on it, so you cough on a desk or something, cells land on it, they get punctured by these microscopic swords, and therefore the cell then dies. So that's a product that we make available to our System4 partners. They start packaging that with their clients, and it becomes an extremely big differentiator. And that has really, then we package it. So when we talk to clients on a very large basis, we're giving them obviously the whole package along with the work order management, along with the microshield. And then that starts to be a differentiating on the whole package where nobody really can bring to the table that same thing. And that's what's really helped us continue to grow. And in today's market, I mean, we've done almost 400 private jets. We were mentioned in Forbes magazine this morning. So, that whole visibility of that product will be a big pull through as we continue to grow System4.
Yeah, and again, I think just the unfortunate nature of this time, but that is something that's going to be a game changer, obviously
Going
for System
forward,
for owners, but for everybody,
yes,
right? Yeah, I told you the other day, I'm like, I want to just kind of carry some of that around and spray it in front of me as I walk around. So, just fantastic information and Phil, man, I know how busy you are, and I appreciate you taking the time to join us today, and just and spending some time with us. So, thank you so much.
you got it, Tim, anytime. And I know you've provided some very extremely good quality clients. Appreciated that over the years and expect that to continue. So thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. No, so and like thank everybody else for joining us today, and um, hopefully this will enlighten people of interested in franchise ownership to some of the amazing possibilities that are out there that maybe you wouldn't have thought of. And so, if you'd like to learn more about becoming a franchise owner for System4 or any of the 500 or so brands we're partnered with, then let's schedule a brief introductory call. There's all the info to how to reach out to us, call, email, follow us online. We always promise if you follow us, we'll like all your cat pictures and everything else that you've got going. Never ever any fee for our service. So we encourage you to take that first step today to help create your better tomorrow. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Please stay safe, and we look forward to connecting with you very soon. Have a great day.
Thank you.